For Oasis Audio, I'm Wayne Shepherd, and Jenny B. Jones is on the line with me. I just like to say that, Jenny. It sounds so good. It's like Johnny Be Good, you know?
You say it very well. You make it sound cooler than it is.
Well, you have a very nice name. And you're a very accomplished author. This book, There You'll Find Me, is what, number 9 for you?
Number 9, yeah.
How about
it's been
that?
Fun.
How did that start for you?
Well, about 5 or 6 years ago, I decided that wishing to write a book wasn't getting me anywhere, and that I needed to get more proactive, and so I just got really aggressive about it, and I had about 20 pages of a book idea, and I went to my first writer's conference, which I recommend for anybody who wants to be published, and the doors just opened, and I had a contract in 6 months from that, and we've just been going ever since.
You know, you're giving a lot of writers some hope right now, don't you?
I hope so. You just never know how it's going to happen. A lot of people have a hard road, but every once in a while, you get it on the first stride.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but it does take work, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely does. There's a lot involved, a lot you need to do, but the hardest part is just sitting down and writing.
Yeah, I noticed on your website you talked about writer's butt.
Yes, yes. It's it's kind of physically, as weird as it sounds, it's physically demanding to sit all day and it's on you physically. So.
Well, obviously you write this Christian fiction for a younger audience. I mean, who do you have in mind? Do you have specific people in mind when you write your books?
I think, depending, I write for women also, and this one is a young adult, so it just depends on which book I'm writing. So for this one, it was with the teenage girl in mind, and just somebody who needs some clean entertainment, and somebody who this character is trying to figure out who she is and why bad things happen in the world, and I think that's something every teenager can relate to. I think that's, about the age where you start really thinking about some of the realities of the world and that things don't get to stay perfect forever.
Mm-hmm. Now, your character, Finley Sinclair, had to go to Ireland in this book. Did you get to go to Ireland to research it?
I did get to go to Ireland. It was rough. Yes. I actually went to Ireland first, and as soon as I got there, I thought, I have got to use this. It's been one of the best places I've ever visited. The people are incredible. And I live in the South, and we Southerners like to think that we're pretty nice. They beat Southern hospitality even. So
Is that right?
It's beautiful and then wonderful people. I just knew I wanted to use it.
Yeah, you mentioned you live in the South. You're in Arkansas. You teach high school?
I do. I teach part-time creative writing and then everybody's favorite class, public speaking.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yes.
So do you turn rough stones into gems? How does that work?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I always have really good students. And they work hard and of course they're perfect. By the time they leave my class, they're just perfect. They're really good. We have a great time.
This is about you, not about me, but one of my first exposures was in high school in a public speaking class, and it really got me excited eventually about radio, and it's been a career now for a long time. So you never know.
Yes, you never know. That would have been an influential class for you.
40 years from now, some of those students may be saying, "Remember that Miss Jones? She really got me excited about what I'm doing now." So
That's
just never
great.
know.
Every once in a while, I take on a student, and I will kind of pull them aside and say, "You need to think about using your communication skills, in broadcasting or this or that."
Mm-hmm.
So it happens.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're married or not.
I'm not.
Okay, so Miss Jones, I was accurate in saying that. Okay. All right, so how long have you been teaching?
I have been teaching, this is my 14th year.
Oh, boy.
I've been doing it a little while.
Uh-huh. And obviously you must like it to stick with it, even though you have all these books to work on now. You still teach. I do, yeah. I still like it. It keeps me in touch with some of my audience, with teenagers, and I get to hear what their music they're listening to and what they're watching and see what they're wearing and what are their issues these days. So it's a really great source. Mm-hmm. And they like to have fun. You like to have fun, don't you? This comes out in your books. Thank you. I do like to have fun, and I always hope, even though the books have a message and
and a layer of depth to them, especially this one. I always wanted it to be an entertaining read, and when they finished the book, for them to be able to say, you know what, that was a good time, and that wasn't time wasted.
Mm-hmm. I noticed on your website and your bio, you say, I write Christian fiction with a few giggles, quite a bit of sass, and lots of crazy.
Yeah, all of the above.
That says it well. What's some of the more crazy things that you've done in your books that maybe you wouldn't do? I don't know, but...
Oh, gosh. Well, let me think. There's some crazy in every book. In my last YA series, A Charmed Life, they were in a family where the stepfather was a professional wrestler, and that was a lot of fun to write about, and not something I don't know that I would want my family involved in, and so I got to go to some professional wrestling matches and see that side of the world, and because that's a whole different culture right there.
Did you wear a disguise?
I didn't wear a disguise, but it's interesting because those people, and it's a family event. I was surprised. There are children there, and those people bring signs, and they bring all this paraphernalia of their favorite person, and they're ready, and they've got maybe not costumes on, but they've got pieces of costumes from their favorite wrestler, and just an interesting atmosphere.
I always like to find out from writers of fiction what some of your own experiences have been. You have some pretty diverse experiences in your bio. You worked in a seed mill, for instance.
Yes.
And how, does that contribute at all to your creativity? I mean, that doesn't sound like there'd be a connection there, but...
Yeah, actually it does. That was one of my best jobs. It was in a seed mill, and I was supposed to answer the phones. Well, the phone rang about once a day, so I didn't have anything to do. So I would sit there and read novels all day, and so that helped a lot because, learned a lot about writing and got a lot of reading in, which is one of the number one things you can do if you're interested in writing. And it taught me how to sit in a chair for extended periods of time doing absolutely nothing, and so that was a great job. Yeah. Except in that job, we're in a farm area, so there's lots of mice, and I would have to clean out mice and dead mice occasionally from the office.
It was in that other duties as assigned part of your job description.
That's right. Other duties as assigned.
So from there, you went on. I assume you went on to assemble and test paintball guns.
Yes, I worked at a place called Daisy BB Gun, and they are famous.
Oh, you worked for Daisy. Oh, my, yes. That's top of the line.
Yes. Do you know what they make?
Well, they make BB guns. I know that.
Yeah, they make the Red Ryder, like in A Christmas Story. And so I tested and assembled paintball guns, and that was one of my favorite things to do there. I didn't get to actually use the paint cartridges, which was a little disappointing, but it was still fun, very loud. A lot of people there were hard of hearing that had been there for decades, didn't hear very well. So that was interesting.
Well, what else do we need to, I mean, those are pretty interesting, work history that you have, pretty interesting work history. What else do we need to know?
Oh, gosh, let me think. What did I do? Let's see, been a waitress for 6 weeks, the longest 6 weeks of my life, and worked in a grocery store. And all of these things were great reasons to go to college. If I ever had a doubt, those all were some good encouragement for sure.
Yeah. Well, Jenny, I know you like to have fun, but as you said earlier, there is a real message, a real strong faith element in your books. Talk to me more about that and what your purpose is.
Well, in every book, there's always a character who is in a situation where she is having to rely on God maybe in a new way, and where we're seeing that the faith is not, being a Christian is not as easy as something we make it out to be. It's more than just saying the right words and praying the right prayers and following all the rules. Sometimes it's just hard. And so my goal in every book is that it's just a real girl, whether that girl is 30 in the book, in the women's books, or 17 in the young adult, but she's just a real girl or woman who is living a very real faith. And sometimes that's not easy, and it's not always pretty, and it's sometimes complicated and hard and funny. So I just want it to be authentic and for it to ring true. That's really important, that it just is authentic. And one of my favorite things is to get an email from a reader saying, your character's like me, or the people in your book sound like my friends, and you know, when they appreciate that, it just makes my day that we got it right.
Yeah.
That it's real.
I would imagine that's a little tricky at times in Christian fiction, because you want them to be authentic and have real life experiences, but you don't want to wander too far into, you know, the dark side, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes it is hard to balance the entertainment value with the message, because the entertainment aspect is super important to me. I don't want them to finish the book and say, well, I got a good message, but it was really hard to wade through it. And because if it's not entertaining, they're never going to pick up on any of the message in there. So I think both are so important, and it is a balance for sure.
Mm-hmm. You said earlier you read a lot. Do you read a lot of fiction?
I do read a lot of fiction, yeah. I read both nonfiction and fiction.
Who are some of your favorite authors?
Let me see. I read a lot of young adult books, so I like a lady named Kate DiCamillo and Richard Peck. I like the funny young adult authors, and those are just secular authors. And for Christian fiction, I like Rachel Hawk and Krista Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see, for nonfiction, I read my Bible. Isn't that what we should say here? And I've always got a nonfiction book going. But
yeah, if you're like most people, you probably have two or three going at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Uh-huh. And your writing is something that you just feel like you feel called to do?
I do think it's a calling, yeah. I think it's something that started very, very early. I can remember all the way back to first grade writing little plays and putting them on in class, like one-woman shows, and you know, it's a wonder I had friends or that people didn't beat me up on the playground later. But just always wanting to be a writer. And I think when God saw that I was actually going to do something about it instead of just waiting for him to make it happen magically, basically, when God saw that I was going to meet him halfway, then things started happening. But it definitely took me stepping up to the plate and getting involved.
Well, because of talented people like you, there's certainly a lot more options today than even just a few years ago, especially for young adults and young people. There just weren't that many good things out there, and now there seem to be quite a number of good things, including your books, and I'm grateful for that.
Well, thank you. We're all proud of the industry out there and what everybody is producing, and we want it to be something better, definitely.
I know your fans will want me to ask you what's in the hopper. What are you working on now, and what do you think you'll be coming out with soon?
By fans, you mean my mom, probably.
Yeah, she called me earlier. Yeah.
I am actually taking a break. I have written, like we mentioned, I've written 9 books in kind of a speedy fashion for me, a fast pace for me, and so I've been taking about 6 months off and just kind of resting up my brain cells and getting to read and relax and travel, and so I am just now sitting down to think about what I want to write next, and I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure yet.
I commend you for that, really, because it's got to be not only time-consuming, but a creative drain on you to do what you do, and you've got to recharge the batteries, don't you?
You do. I've learned just recently how important it is. You think you don't have time to do that, and then you realize sometimes you can't afford not to, really. So I'm excited to see what I'm going to step into after the break, but it's been really good to just recharge.
Well, it's coming out real soon now. As a matter of fact, by the time people hear this conversation, it's probably out. There You'll Find Me, the latest from Jenny B. Jones. It's available from Oasis Audio. Have any of your other books been done in audio form?
I think this is the first.
Is
I'm really
that right?
excited about it.
Oh, good. All right. Well, it's a new, fun experience. There You'll Find Me from Jenny B. Jones. And what's your website, Jenny?
You can find me at jennybjones.com.
That works out well, doesn't it?
Yes.
Jenny B. Jones, the author of There You'll Find Me and many other books as well. Now, school started for you?
Yes, we are on week 3 or 4 now.
Oh, boy, you're already well into the season, so.
We are.
Well, best to you. I know those students are going to love learning from you this year. So thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
For Oasis Audio, I'm Wayne Shepherd.